Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gamers Sideline podcast, where the sports meet the sticks and the stories get pixel deep. I'm your host, Mike, aka Lichmax. With me, we have our other host, my guy.
Kinetik.
And today, here on Football Friday, we have a couple some really good things we got coming up for you guys today. We're gonna be talking about the state of EA football, top 25, week 11 preview, marquee matchups, and then potentially getting into our predictions for this Saturday's games. So I guess without further ado, let's start it off with the state of EA football. Kinetik, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Okay, so I just thought it'd be good to sort of give our thoughts on EA College Football 26, Madden 26. Both have been out for 3 to 4 months now at this point. I've played quite a lot of both. I haven't the one area that I'm gonna refrain from for this video is I'm not going to talk much about the Road to Glory Superstar modes. I do intend to play them. I have not played them yet. I've sort of dabbled in one, but I haven't really gotten to play with them. So I'm going to stay away from that for now. Okay. But other than that, I mean, I've definitely got some opinions on the games themselves. Where do you want to start? Do you want me to start with one game than the other? Do you want me to go with like similar, like Dynasty and franchise?
I mean, it's however you want to do it, man. If you want to start with college football, then move on to Madden, or if you got similar takes for both of them as a whole, I mean that would be however you want to do it, man.
So, I think both games are improvements over last season. With college football, I think that they made a lot of improvements, and I think that there's a couple misses that they made. I primarily play in dynasty mode in college football and franchise mode in Madden. So a lot of my takes are going to be based around that. But first I'll talk about gameplay. I'm a little bit frustrated with the gameplay to an extent because I feel like with college football, at least when it first was released earlier this year, I felt like they had addressed some issues from last year that they have now reverted back to some of the problems they had last year. For example, for years in Madden and last year in college football, the game is wholly weighted towards defensive plays on the ball in the passing game. I brought this up to you recently. If you look at real life college football, like we're Michigan fans. We've got a player on Michigan, Samaj Morgan, who leads, if not the entire college football Division I, at least the Big Ten in dropped passes that are targeted to him, that are catchable, that he should catch, and he doesn't.
He should actually just be transferred to defensive defensive back, like a cornerback or something. See, I feel like he would be better there because he's got DB hands for sure.
Well, the reason I bring him up is because the game seems to think there's a lot more drop passes than there actually is. So just doing a quick Google search. Samaj Morgan currently is tied for fourth most drops in the country among receivers. Okay. And he's got a total of 9 dropped passes for the season. We're in week 11.
Right.
Okay. 9 for the season, and he's tied for the 4th most in the country. You play a game on this on college football 26, and most people don't play on 15-minute quarters. So let's say that most people play on probably 6 to 8 minute quarters. You play a 7-minute quarter game, and you'll have 9 drops in less than 2 quarters of football.
Right.
And it's not. It's like when the game first came out, they weren't doing that. The receivers were catching at a much better rate than they were last season and in previous years with Madden. But I feel like there's this portion of the player base that don't actually watch football. They just play the game. And they whine and complain because the receivers were catching the balls and mossing defenders more than they have been in previous years. And so EA tweaked it back. That shouldn't happen. The game is supposed to be a football simulation. We should not be making changes away from the simulation of real football to appease players that probably don't even watch football.
And now, real quick, I will say a good fix to that would be to separate the simulation setting from like the arcade and the competitive setting. Have them
Right. Well,
be
and they already
separate,
have that.
and then have simulation be its own thing, where simulation has its own set of its own structure of events that are completely separate from competitive and arcade, because simulation should be like as close to real football as you can get in a video game, and then arcade and competitive can be arcade and competitive. You want to tweak those for like having dropped passes every other pass, that's fine. That's on you. That's all you, EA. But separate simulation. Make simulation its own thing with its own adjusted sliders behind the scenes, not in front of the scenes, because in front of the scenes we can tweak all we want, but it still doesn't fix the massive amount of drops we get. We could probably have wide receiver catching at 100, and they would still be dropping every other pass.
Yeah, because in the leagues that I run, I have it currently set on between 70 to 80 versus the normal 50 default. And I feel like if I move it up anymore, it looks bad. But they're still dropping them at a higher rate than they should. And there's other parts of the game that like that. Like I know it's a pet peeve of yours, the pass blocking.
Yeah, that is atrocious.
But watch college football, man. It happens all the time. Like there's missed assignment. Like I feel like the player base, especially the ones that don't watch college football, expect the game to be perfect. And then when they do watch college football, and maybe only in a casual way, they expect the real life game to be like a video game and be perfect. Real life college football is not perfect. You've got 10 to 15,000 players in the game, and a total of 300 of them are going to get drafted into the NFL this next year, and less than 50 of them are going to make rosters. So, like, you're watching a bunch of, like, future lawyers and accountants play football. Like, they're not going to be perfect. There's going to be overthrows. There's going to be missed assignments. There's going to be missed tackles. There's going to be missed blocks. Like, that happens. But I feel like the problem for me is that that EA, it feels like EA is too quick to try to appease one section of their player base that don't even care about simulation. And they have, like you said, they have simulation, arcade, and competitive, like, I don't know what you call them.
Settings.
Settings, but
subsettings.
They already have them there. Why can't they partition them harder so that the coefficients on the actual gameplay are completely separate? So, like, if I want so that the simulation default settings are closer to simulation realism, and then the people that want to nerd out on Ultimate Team and don't actually care about football can play on competitive or arcade or whatever they prefer, and have those settings completely different instead of trying to have this one size fits all default settings thing. I just don't get it. And I feel like there are certain features like that at the start of the year were better than they are now.
Right.
I will say this: as much as I personally am a college football fan more than a pro fan, I am a pro fan, but I'm much more passionate about college football, and therefore I play college football more. There are some aspects of the gameplay that I prefer with Madden. It just feels like a smoother gameplay because what Madden did this year is they took the best parts from Madden last year, took some of the best things from College Football 25, and put them into one system. College football didn't really borrow anything from Madden. I think they borrowed some like animations, but the Madden physics feel better for the most part than college football last year. Last year, college felt better because it was still the old Madden system. But this blending of both, I hope that they put into the college game next year as well.
I agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just like I would like to see them give us more options on the offense to be able to better counteract like the defense. Because I mean, yes, we have the mic and we have the on target and we have the double team. But I feel like we need like a way to I guess better have the targeting set. Like it doesn't have to be perfect because awareness is still going to be at play, but like just only having the options on the line to be able to either slide them full left, or full right, part right, or base or empty. I mean that doesn't. A lot of the times that's just not enough to really be able to adequately pick up, especially the stunts. Like if we assume that there's a stunt coming, like it can also work to our detriment. Like if you want to put on like a custom blocking scheme where you have like everyone block towards the inside because you think they're going to be coming to the inside. So you want to block everyone to the inside, especially on run plays. We should be able to shift we should be able to shift that shit on run plays too. Like if you want to have somebody like shift the line to run towards the direction that you're running, say you like you flip the play and you want to shift the block angles to go in the direction you're running or away from the direction you're running, we should be able to do that. We currently can't. I think that would help us out a lot. That's what I want to see in the next game. Now, this current game, I like the physics in it. Some of the physics still kind of gets wonky. We still have a little bit of a rubber banding effect if you get hit within a certain time when you're throwing or pitching the ball. There's like that small window where you get a rubber band effect before the ball leaves the hitbox of your player.
Right.
That's weird. Or and then also you get the phantom tackles on occasion too, where like a guy tackles like 3 yards away from you and then you fall down for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, or you just get like when you're running, you just get stuck on your dude. You can't run around them or anything.
Again, they're annoying, but for the most part, they do happen in real life. This is a video game's attempt at simulating that.
Right.
We're Michigan fans. How many times do we watch Donovan Edwards literally bounce off the back of one of his offensive linemen and then turn and find another hole?
Right, but
they're trying to they keep it in the game because it should be, but it's like it doesn't exactly work like.
Well, what happens is when you run into the back of your blocker, you get just like glued to him until the tackler reaches around and tackles both of you. Yeah, that's what ends up happening.
I know it's not a perfect 1-to-1 carryover from real life to the game, but I understand why it's there. The one that bugs me, this should just be straight up taken out of the game. Like just delete it from the fucking files on both games. That stupid backwards dunk animation where they get mid-air, catch the ball, get hit, and they do this like layout thing with their hands back over their head and they drop the ball. Just delete that animation. Like, I don't think EA devs understand how annoying that animation is, that it makes every drop pass that uses that animation way more annoying than it would be if it was just a drop pass. Like, it's already going to be annoying, but that animation is just stupid.
And not to mention that, like, it happens over the dumbest tackles. Like, you just get, like, breathed on a little too hard, just a little bit, and your dude just goes just full back bend in the air, just full scorpion.
I'll say this, the last thing I'll say about the gameplay, the thing that bothers me about both games, and I want to acknowledge a caveat at the beginning of this, that I don't have an idea for a better way of balancing the game to make it challenging, but I feel like we should be putting some effort into finding a better way. It is painfully obvious that this game takes momentum to a different level. Like momentum in the game should be a thing, like hot streaks or whatever. But it is painfully obvious that there are just at random times throughout the game where the game is trying to simulate teams getting hot and cold in a game and make the games close, where it's like they shadow boost the ratings of the other team's players. And it's like, it'll be like the middle of you driving down the field. Their defense will start playing lights out until they get a takeaway or a stop. And then their offense, the next drive, every play, their receivers are open. Every play, your guys are out of position. And it's so obvious that it feels like you're getting railroaded in the game. And I understand that that's probably how they sort of balance the game so that it's not super easy or super hard and there's a little bit of variation, but I just feel like there needs to be a way to dial that back a little bit and not be so painfully obvious. That is one of the most annoying and infuriating things about the game, when the whole game is going one way and then out of nowhere there's just this one or two drives back to back where the other team is suddenly the 2007 New England Patriots.
Yeah, like for example, like when you're driving down the field with a team like like Texas A&M, for example, and you're playing against Northwestern, and you're already up a score and a half. You have a touchdown and a field goal. They're sitting at 0, and then out of nowhere they just start playing like 2023 Michigan. Like, your guys can't stop anything they do. Northwestern is just walking down the field essentially, and then they get a touchdown, and then immediately after they go back to playing stupid on defense when they've been doing that all game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I like the idea of momentum, but it should be minor increases to the abilities throughout the game.
Northwestern should not be playing like 2023 Michigan.
Well, and I'm not even saying that they shouldn't be able to play better, but it feels like when the game decides that it's going to score, there is nothing you can do to stop it. Like, it feels like it's not only is it raising the other team's abilities, and you would have to sort of step up in those moments to stop them, but it also feels like it's intentionally lowering your team's rating so that your guys are out of position so that you can't stop them no matter what you do.
So, for example, one thing that happened to me when I was playing a game, I used the linebacker, obviously, because that's the best way to play. But so I was in lockstep with this receiver. Quarterback throws it to him. I tap the interception button, which is Y. My dude puts his hands up to get the ball. The ball literally goes through his hands. Receiver catches it. He runs for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like,
I
was in position.
The players should never feel like they're just, no matter what they do, they can't get not a win, but like they can't have a successful play against the defense until they get whatever drive or two that's like the game has decided it's going to score on out of the way. Like, the players should not feel like that. But that said, I'm not trying to just trash the game. I do think it's a very fun game. I play it every day. I think there are. So with Madden, I know on some of our earlier videos, I trashed the ability system, and I'm not going to fully flip on that because I do still stand by some of what I said. But having played with it more, I'm going to say I was half wrong. It is the start of a good system, and it is the first year that they've introduced this new system, but there's hits and misses. I don't think that the abilities should regress. You should not have to keep repurchasing them because you had a bad game or two. I don't like that the coach level stops at 40 max level. It didn't used to. There's no reason to have that cap on the coach level. You still get training points. So I don't get it. So the abilities that so some of the abilities get locked. Like you can turn on and off week to week, and some of them you turn them on and you can't turn them off for 4 or 6 or 8 weeks. I don't mind those. I don't necessarily like them. I would take that out if it were up to me, but I don't mind that being a thing. But some of them should not be like that. Specifically, the one that I'm talking about is the one that lets you have 3 extra focus players for your weekly training. The week that it comes off, so you turn it on, and it doesn't turn on that week. It starts the next week. So it takes up a slot this week, turns on next week, and then you have it for 4 weeks, and then it turns off. And then for that week, you can only train 3 people, even if you turn it back on. I don't like that. That should not be one that turns off. That should be one that you can turn on and have on all the time. It should not take a week to turn on. If I add it to this week, it should open up this week. And that's not like it's going to be hard coding, because in the previous game, you could have 3, spend the points to get the talent to add an extra one, and then that same, like immediately that week, that the extra spots would be open. So make it so that opens up that week, because that also calls into question for me the ability camp counselor that gives you extra experience for training camp, because you can't put on coach abilities in the offseason, free agency, the draft, or the draft recap. So you can't put that ability on until preseason week 1. But does it turn on that week or does it not? Because based on the other one, I don't think it does. But if it doesn't, then what's the point? Because it can only be used that week for any benefit. And then why does that one have to be on for 4 weeks?
Right.
Like that, like some of these abilities just don't feel like they were thought out very well. But I do see where the system has its strengths and where they're trying to go, and I just hope that they improve upon that. I gotta say I am torn on the player progression. So Madden player progression is what it has been for years. It is it's the same system and it's fine. College football last year was only auto progression, and it was what it was.
Yep.
And we wanted there to be some sort of in between what it was there and what Madden had, where maybe we can't necessarily pick every ability, like specific abilities, to max out first, but we could sort of direct the player. Now, what they did, I think in some ways was a sort of halfway in between, but it's also, in my opinion, sort of highlighted something that I've now and other players have since learned. That, for example, the awareness rating is way more important to these games than anybody thought prior to this year's game. And now when I'm playing Madden, I'm kind of wishing I had the college football progression system where I can focus on IQ. Because I don't like having an offensive lineman that has a 60 awareness, and if I get an upgrade point once every couple of weeks and I pick, I don't know, agile, he gets +1 awareness. And then the other ones that he gets are random. I don't like that as much as I do like the college one, where I can go to IQ and I can spend however many coins for an upgrade in that group skill grouping, and it upgrades the ratings that are associated with that IQ grouping for that position. So if I want to spend all of my points to upgrade the IQ position 10 times, I'm not necessarily getting to upgrade all of my resources into awareness, but I'm able to upgrade that skill grouping and focus it till I get it to the point where I want it and focus on other things. So, for example, with offensive linemen, I focus on their awareness. Then I will focus on their pass or run blocking, depending on their position. And then I focus on their footwork, speed, and power. I don't need to be able to focus on awareness, change of direction, pass block finesse, run block power. I don't need to be able to focus on those individually, but I like the grouping system.
I'm actually a fan of how Madden does it currently. It's a lot simpler, and I just think it's a lot more streamlined when it comes to actually upgrading your players. I mean, I
It
get in
is. Well,
college,
no,
and I
it
understand
is.
in college where like it makes sense because like week to week you might actually be training in those specific areas. Whereas in the NFL, a lot of the times your training is pretty generalized to your position as a whole. So I see where like the random other skills would come from if you're being trained in the
Well,
agile
no, that's not the point.
tactic.
That's not the point. My point is that since they've done this year's college game the way they have, it has opened up a lot of people's eyes to like how certain stats and thresholds work in the games.
Right.
And now when we go to Madden and we're leveling up, we feel like we have less control over the development of our players than we did in college football 25.
See, I would much rather have, for example, the Madden system in college football than the college football system. I think that would be way more streamlined, way better, especially if they brought in like the drills to focus. If they brought in the focus players for training, like that would honestly be great, rather than having like random players get skill ups week to week. Just have the focus players, and you can focus down
So
certain players.
the college one, it's all about what you do in game, and then I would like to. So here's what I would like to see. I like the college one the way it is, but I would like to see a slight expansion to the off-season training results phase. They used to have this in, I don't remember specifically what years. It wasn't
14.
No, it wasn't 14. It was like somewhere
Well,
between
if you know, let us know in the chat.
it was somewhere between like NCAA 08 to NCAA 12, but you actually had spring games where you could do the scrimmage game with your team. And what I would like to see is the training results phase be based around some drills and a spring game, and you could choose the players to focus on during that more than the others, and actually run the spring game, and then what players get more or less training or get their dev trait upgraded is based on what happens in those drills in the game. That would be fun for me. I wouldn't want to change the in-season training, and I wouldn't want to change the spending of points, but the way that they accumulate those points in the off season, if there was a spring game training phase, spring training, that would be really cool.
Well, we gotta get moving on. So, real quick, final thoughts on how you're feeling about both games at this point in the cycle.
Well, hold on, because there's some things I want to go over.
Well, we're 30 minutes in. We got a lot of stuff we gotta get through.
I'll touch on some things real quick. The college game, in Dynasty, I think that the transfer portal is much better than it was last year. You can almost rebuild an entire team from it. I think that see now, yeah, you threw me off because I wasn't expecting. I didn't realize how long we had gone on one part of this.
Yeah.
The training of the players has become one of my favorite things to do, but like some of the stuff doesn't make sense. Like there needs to be more controls for dynasty settings. So like I think that the wear and tear and the season bar were a good thing, and giving us more controls over the impact of different things for wear and tear was good. But the career bar is complete trash. We should have the option to turn that off. To keep wear and tear on, but turn it off. Because right now what we have is this dichotomy where if we have the wear and tear up to even to the level it was in last year's game, which I would like it to be a little bit more impactful than it was last year's game, in the games themselves and from week to week. What I ran into in one of the sim leagues that I'm in, and I wasn't playing as Michigan, but another guy was, and I'm only using Michigan as an example here because it's an easy example with Bryce Underwood, being a true freshman who from game one of the season one has a full bar of career health. With the wear and tear settings set slightly below default, 18 games into his career health bar was completely depleted, which means after the first series of every game, he would be subbed out and could not be subbed back in for the rest of his career after midway through his second year. That's crazy. So in order to not have that happen and completely ruin the career of anyone you start young as a freshman or sophomore, you have to turn the sliders on wear and tear down so much that you barely notice them in the game. So I like what they did with wear and tear, but there needs to be the option to turn off some of the new features like the career bar. I think that
speaking of turning stuff off, we should also be able to turn off home field advantage, stadium pulse.
I like
be able
it.
to turn that off.
I like it.
Fuck that shit.
Maybe a slider for the intensity of it, but I like it. But no. So like the recruiting battles, maybe I just didn't understand them at the time, but they felt so much more dynamic on the beta test than they do in the live game. Like in the beta test, it was cool because like I could actually come back and win one over a bigger school based on certain things, and it felt like a struggle. And in some sense, it was taken out of my hands, and it was like, okay, this is what the recruit's going to do. The live game version right now just feels like it just extends the battle, and the bigger school is going to win every time. And I feel like they could do more to make that more interactive, the recruiting battle. So I feel like that was a miss with how it's currently implemented. Good idea, but it was a miss. I think that the transfer portal sliders with the deal breakers needs to be tweaked heavily. I think there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense with it. I think that I'll tie it up with this. A couple things that I hope to see in the next game. Pipelines need to be dynamic. In earlier games, your pipelines, you would have 2 or 3 that stayed static no matter what because it's traditional for your school. For example, Michigan will always be strong in Michigan, Illinois, and Ohio, right? But then your other pipelines should be dynamic. It used to be in the old games, it was like for every 3 or 5 players you had on your roster from that pipeline, you would get a tier of that pipeline. And so the more you recruited that area, the more you could recruit that area, if that makes sense. And that needs to be fixed because right now, if you rebuild, like for example, Delaware, they have some pipelines, but they're all 1-tier pipelines and they never change unless you get the CEO or the program builder talents. And even then they only change a little bit, but like you can never develop that. So even if you build Delaware up to a 5-star school, they're kind of like a fake 5-star school. Right. So the pipelines need to be dynamic. If I'm a coach and I go to a new school, if I accept a new job, the players from my previous school should have a chance to enter the portal and follow me to that school. There should be something for that because that happens all the time in the game. And it's just little things like that. Those are probably my two biggest wish list items. And otherwise, it's just kind of smaller tweaks. For Madden, I want to see one fun thing would be able to be able to do conference realignment there. That would be fun. I think
schedules.
I think that the sim logic is a little bit better than it has been the previous couple years, but it's also still really fucking weird. Like sometimes lower rated linemen do better than higher rated linemen in sim. It's really stupid.
Yeah, and they keep trying to make JJ look good in sim for some reason.
JJ's awesome.
No, he's not.
EA are future prophets with how they've rated JJ in the game. But no, so like with Madden, I would like to see more improvements to the ability system. I would like to see clean up some of the extra stuff that just feels like it doesn't really have anything there or a reason to be there. And just make changes to the draft, to the okay, here's one. When you do a fantasy draft, reset draft picks. Like, there should be no reason if we do a fantasy draft why, for example, Jacksonville should not have their first round picks that they traded to be able to get Travis Hunter if they no longer have Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I think it should reset all the draft picks back to default.
Right. So little things like that, and maybe I'll do a video in the future going over a more extensive list of my wish list items. But
or even like instead of calling it fantasy draft, call it franchise rebuild, because you're basically rebuilding all of the teams from nothing.
Yeah, and I would like to see the salary cap thing worked a little bit better. Like right now, it's actually, I like how deep they go with it, but it's also very rigid. Where the real life salary cap, there are 1,000 different ways to rework money and move things around. And I feel like
rather than like hitting the restructure button, having where it automatically restructures, you should be able to actually like renegotiate the contract.
Yeah, you should be able to. You should be able to renegotiate the contract. You should be able to sign extensions with players a year or two before their final year of their contract.
Yeah.
There's just small things that could be done better.
Or even like put in like an offer to a player to reduce his salary to help the team if that's their personality type,
Right.
Because we've seen players do that. They've taken pay cuts to help the team build better talent. For example, Scadaboo, he reduced his payout to help the team pick up a player to replace him because he's out for the season.
Yeah,
that's an example of that.
I agree. There's little things with it. More controls over. First of all, there's no wear and tear sliders on Madden. There are on the front screen, but not in franchise.
Yeah, but that is because this is the first year of them implementing it. That'll probably come in 2027.
Right. But it's just small things like that. I'll do a video at some point that goes over like a
so make sure you are subscribed. Video coming soon where Kinetik talks his full unadulterated thoughts on the state of EA football.
Or maybe adulterated. We'll see.
Yeah, who knows? You don't know. We get a little wild up in here. You don't know what we're gonna do. We're not monetized yet. We can do what we want. So I guess next, let's move on to the next topic. We got the AP Top 25 shakeup, and a shakeup it was. Not really, but there's a blowout tonight. Hey, Keegan, what's up?
What game are you talking about, Keegan? What's up?
While we wait for his response, so I got to get this up. I just realized that. Share screen. Top 25. Share screen. There we go. So here are the top 20. Oh, Northwestern at USC. I'm guessing USC is destroying Northwestern. Oh, it hasn't even started yet. It starts in 30 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably have it on the background. I don't know if I'll watch it like with my.
All right, so we got the AP Top 25 right here. Obviously, Ohio State's still number one. I disagree with that. Oh, Indiana should be number one, but Ohio State's the reigning champ, so it makes sense why they're number one. Then we got Texas A&M at number 3, surprising me. Texas A&M has been a surprise this season. Alabama number 4, Georgia number 5. You got a problem with that? With those 5?
I have a problem with them being so high. I don't have a problem with them being in the top 10. But the problem is that like there's not any other team that's really sort of said, "Hey, we should be there instead."
Right. I mean, I'm sure we'll find out here in a couple of weeks. We'll see that Ohio never should have been here to begin with.
Yeah,
But
like I think Oregon's only loss is to the number 2 team on the list. Oregon should
right,
be higher.
I
Texas
agree.
Tech's only loss is the week that they didn't have their starting quarterback. They should be higher. BYU is undefeated. I don't think their schedule should have them as high. I think they should be maybe in the like 12 to 13 range.
I agree
I
there.
think Alabama and Georgia should be probably like 7 to 10.
I think
That's
it
just
should be
me.
7 and 8.
Yeah. Notre Dame, I don't know, man. I don't think Notre Dame should be in the top 10. They've lost their big matchups, and their best win is USC.
Yeah.
So like I don't know.
Honestly, if I was gonna Notre Dame should be 13. Texas should be 10.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Texas in the most recent games have proven that they should be back in the top 10.
I don't know if
Ours
I'd put them in the
finally
top 10. I feel like they would be okay. So if I had to do top 10, I mean it would be Ohio State and Indiana. Pick your choice at 1 and 2. Texas A&M still undefeated, so that's fine. I would move Oregon up to 4. Ole Miss 5. Let's go down just a little bit. God, these teams suck. Honestly, like okay, I know they got beat last week, but I really like Georgia Tech. I would move Georgia Tech up. I like Haynes King.
10.
I think he's awesome.
I don't think Georgia Tech's top 10 though.
They're more of a top 10 team than BYU. So you could take 6 through 10, and it could be Georgia Tech, Texas Tech, Notre Dame, Alabama, and Georgia. I don't really care what order.
I would take Notre Dame out of the top 10. I would swap them and Oklahoma maybe. I would almost even put Notre Dame behind Texas. They haven't really played like a great schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't.
They're only up there because they're independent and get special
Notre Dame,
treatment.
Texas, and Oklahoma. They can be 10 through 12, any order. And then after that, I mean, I'd put Vandy probably behind them. Vandy's just playing out of their minds for their talent level.
Right.
Louisville, I think Louisville will probably be in that like 10 to 13 range as well. I think Miami is toast now with the way that Carson Beck is completely quit on his team. USC, I would probably have right up around 15.
I think Michigan is kind of where Michigan's going to be until we beat
Well,
Ohio
we're going to win
State.
our next 3 games, so I mean,
right.
we'll end up in the top 15.
Yeah, depending on how big of a margin we win, yeah, I'd agree with that. I think 10. I don't really see these guys. What?
You want to try that again? Tried to say what? Pittsburgh and Tennessee at the same time. Didn't come out right.
I wasn't saying Pittsburgh. I was saying Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee, Washington, Cincinnati. These 3, I think, are interchangeable. I don't see them really moving much. Washington might fall off. I haven't really looked at their schedule, but I don't think they're really going to go very far.
And Washington are better than Mizzou and Pitt, but I like both Mizzou and Pitt.
Right.
Mizzou lost Bo Perbula, so he's out for the rest of the season.
Well, Pitt isn't even in the conversation right now.
Yeah.
Memphis is a surprise to me.
We've been ignoring Keegan's things. He said, "No,
I saw
get Notre Dame out of there and BYU." I agree.
Yeah. Notre Dame is only here because they're independent and get special treatment. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here.
All right, give me the top games that so we can give our predictions before we get off here.
All right. Let's see, week 11. FBS. All right, actually, do they have a top 25? No, we don't. All right, so I'm gonna have to switch what we're doing. Switch what page we're on.
You had one job, Mike.
Well, I had shit to do.
Wasting the viewers' time.
Hey, it only takes me a second to pull it up and then swap over to it. Okay.
Hey, everyone in the chat, give Lichamax shit right now. Give him a hard time for not being prepared.
Hey, you could have also been prepared too.
That's not my job. That's your job.
It could have been your job. All right, here we are. I really hate ads. All right, so today we got Northwestern USC. I think obviously USC is destroying Northwestern. That should be an easy win.
Yeah, Makai Lemon. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And despite the fact that Lemon is his name, I don't think he's a lemon.
That was
bad joke.
That
Moving
was really
on.
bad. Really bad.
Anyway, Indiana, Penn State. Obviously, Indiana's destroying Penn State.
Yeah, it's not even a game. Indiana by 50.
You know, I don't know if I'd say by 50, but definitely Indiana.
Obviously, I don't actually mean by 50. I'm just saying
Right,
it's going to be a beatdown. Oh, look at that marquee matchup in Week 11. Ole Miss against the Citadel. that SEC, man, it just means more. Week 11 scheduling.
They don't want to risk their number 6 spot, you know.
It just means more in the SEC.
We got Texas Tech versus BYU. This actually might have some playoff implications if Texas Tech pulls off a win here.
This definitely has Big 12 conference championship implications.
For sure.
This will be actually a good game. I really like Kalani Sitake as a head coach. He's doing a lot of really good things with what he's got there. But I think Texas Tech is going to roll and take away BYU's undefeated streak.
I completely agree. I think Texas Tech's going to take this one, especially since it's home in their home stadium. I think they're going to knock BYU out of the top 10 if Texas Tech wins, which will definitely cement Texas Tech's place in the CFP.
Yeah,
and
I'll say
potentially
Texas
going
Tech,
for a natty run. But
I'll say Texas Tech 31-23.
I'll say I'd have to agree with you there. I can't really dispute that too much. So, I mean, obviously I'm gonna take Texas Tech for the win, but yeah, I can't really give you a good score prediction. So I'll just hop on with your score prediction there, and go along with that.
What do you think about this game right here? Because a lot of people are predicting an upset here, and I don't see it. A lot of people, even from the start of the season. No, a lot of people, even at the start of the season, were predicting that Iowa could be a trap game for Oregon. I don't see that. I think Oregon wins.
So here's the thing. I believe it was said that teams going to Iowa tend to have a hard time.
It is a tough place to play, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a good chance that Oregon could struggle at Iowa.
But Iowa doesn't have a quarterback. They've got that Gronowski guy that came in from South Dakota or North Dakota or wherever. And we got all this hype about them finally having a good quarterback, and he's been trash.
I mean, right, yeah. But I mean, it's just the atmosphere of Iowa that could prove to be a detriment for Oregon. I mean, it's entirely possible.
I don't know. I picked Oregon preseason to go to the Big Ten championship game, and for them to do that, they've got to win this game. So I'm picking Oregon to win. I'll give you this. It'll be a close game. I'll say Oregon 27-20.
Now I will say, even though I'm anticipating a big struggle for Oregon against Iowa, I don't think that that's really going to stop them from scoring. I think it's just going to slow down their scoring. I don't think Iowa's going to get 20 points. I think we're going to see 11-27.
Okay.
Oregon.
So you think Oregon's winning, or you think Iowa's winning?
Oregon. I think Oregon's going to win 27-11.
What about the Auburn Vandy game? I got Vandy. I'm on the Diego Pavia train.
You know, I want to say Diego Pavia, but Jackson Arnold, man. Jackson Arnold's over there at Auburn. He's doing some shit.
But I don't even think Jackson Arnold's starting. They fired the head coach Hugh Freeze, and they were running a get this. I've brought this up before, but they were running a 3 quarterback / 3 play caller system. Depending on the down and distance, would determine who was calling the plays, and they were rotating 3 quarterbacks as their starting quarterback.
Vanderbilt all day. Vanderbilt, no
and
chance.
they just fired Hugh Freeze, the head coach.
Auburn, no chance. Zero chance for Auburn. Vanderbilt's going to walk in here and they're just going to dominate the field. I mean, it's at home at Vandy too, so it's just going to be straight domination for what is it, like 3 hours? Is the football game?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be like 3 hours of straight domination.
Yeah, I'm
now
totally
we're
on the Vandy train there. I think that I don't think Auburn has a chance. Washington at Wisconsin. So this is interesting. Washington's a good team. Wisconsin is a bad team, but
I mean,
it is, for whatever reason, something about going to play at Camp Randall Stadium is always cursed, and it's a lot harder than it should be.
right?
And for whatever insane reasoning, Wisconsin has decided to stand by Luke Fickell as their head coach. I guess they don't want to pay him the buyout, and so they're not firing him. So, what do you think? I think Washington's a good team, but I think they're a year away from being a great team. I don't know about this game. I don't know how to call this game.
You know, I'm gonna give it to Washington. Like we did have a slight struggle against both these teams, but I think Washington put up more of a fight than Wisconsin did against Michigan.
Yeah, I think Washington's a better team.
So I'm gonna have to give it to Washington. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be a low-scoring game. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be 17-10.
I am so back and forth on this. If you ask me this right now and ask me again in like 30 minutes, I might give you a different answer. But right now, I think this is going to be one of the games that is sort of a catalyst and coming out party for next year's version of Washington. And they are going to beat Wisconsin 31-10.
I'm going to go more conservative and say 17-10 Washington.
All right, give me like 1 or 2 more games that you think is going to be a big one.
All right. Here's one. LSU versus Alabama.
Bro, this isn't big. This would have been big. This is a big game the same way the Penn State-Ohio State game was big preseason.
Right.
LSU just fired their head coach. Their program's in shambles. Alabama's solid. Alabama, and this is in Alabama. Alabama wins this. I'll say 28-17.
I mean, the only other matchup we have is Notre Dame Navy, and we know Notre Dame's winning that one somehow, unless, of course.
In other news, since we don't have another game, Notre Dame is ducking yet another power football team. Just like they canceled their games with Michigan when they saw Michigan getting good, after they saw Florida State defeat Alabama in a stunning upset to start this season, they have now canceled their future games with Florida State so they can schedule more teams like Marshall and Northern Illinois. That came out today. Notre Dame ducking tough teams again because they got 2 losses this year and they said no more.
Yeah, I think it was in 2019. They abandoned the Michigan Notre Dame rivalry in favor of signing a 10-year contract to go up against Clemson.
Right.
Because Clemson at the time was in shambles. Now Clemson's starting to become good, and Notre Dame's looking for ways to get out of that contract, I bet.
Yep.
I guess the only other one might be Ohio-Purdue. We know Ohio's going to stomp them, but do you think Purdue might surprise Ohio?
No, that's not a game. No. That'll barely be more of a game than Ole Miss and Citadel.
I mean, we got A&M and Mizzou.
Mizzou lost Bo Prabula, their starting quarterback for the season. So.
Oh, right. So that's not going to be a game either.
Nope.
So we really don't have anything else.
Other big ones. Louisville's going to beat Cal. That's the slate of games. Michigan's not playing, so it's going to be a boring Saturday.
Well, I mean, like you said, this game might actually be good.
Couple of them.
BYU Texas Tech. I mean,
Yeah, couple of them.
that's got Big 12 implications. That's got playoff implications. So I mean, this is kind of like a dual threat game right here. This could almost count as two marquee matchups for the week.
Yeah.
BYU versus Texas Tech at Texas Tech. I mean, unless Citadel comes out like firing on all cylinders and puts
That would be
puts
hilarious.
up a
but it's
fight
not
up
happening.
against Ole Miss.
I mean, listen. You know what? Okay.
Let's do some speculation real quick. Let's do some speculation.
Hold on that game. First of all, Trinidad Chambliss, amazing story. I like the kid. I like watching him. I hope he plays in the NFL. The one way that this could be an upset is if Lane Kiffin is already mentally checked out and he's looking to take the job at LSU. I think that's his job. The weird part about it, the thing that the only reason I'm not willing to like put money on him going to LSU per se is because of the timing. Because LSU is going to want to get their head coach before early National Signing Day, which is the first week of December, and Ole Miss is on trajectory to be in the playoffs. So I don't know how that's going to go. But I know that in the past, Lane Kiffin has had no qualms about leaving one job literally in the middle of the night, in the middle of a season, to go to his next job. So I think that his job, he's taken the LSU job. So maybe there's a little bit of intrigue to that game, but it's the Citadel, dude. They're not going to beat Ole Miss.
I mean, let's speculate real quick. If Citadel wins, does Ole Miss get dropped all the way out of playoff contention?
If Citadel wins, I think all SEC teams should drop a minimum of 10 spots in the rankings because the SEC is elite and it just means more. Yet they want to schedule games against fast food restaurants, medieval castles, and train stations in like mid to late November. Like that's not going to fly anymore.
So I think this will be Lane Kiffin's reaction if Ole Miss loses.
Holding offense number 64, 10-yard penalty.
It seems to be the common opinion here.
Exactly. But like I said, I think Kiffin's going to LSU, so we'll see how invested he stays in the rest of the season.
Right, yeah, me too. I'm kind of interested to see. I mean, either way, I still think the biggest matchup of this weekend is without a doubt BYU Texas Tech. I don't think there's any other game that really has higher stakes than that one.
It's like other than something out real quick.
Yeah,
this is a complete change of this topic, but I just pulled up the YouTube feed of our show right now.
Yeah.
There's a button at the top that says translate audio. So it can live in real time translate our audio to Spanish or Korean. Why Korean? Why is Spanish and Korean the two options?
Those are that's our audience.
Apparently. Well, okay. Anyway, let's get out of here.
Yeah, all right. So, Kinetik, if you could let the people know where they can find you, what you got going on, and give me 1 second. I'll pull up your QR code.
Yeah. So, as usual, you guys can find me everywhere on all social media platforms at Kinetik615. Feel free to inbox me. I try to respond if it's as long as it's not spam. You can find me on YouTube at Kinetik615. I won't have a stream tomorrow since there is no Michigan game. I'm not going to do a watch along. But I will do a Vikings watch along on Sunday for the Ravens game. So find me there. I also do video gameplay on Kinetik615 Plays on YouTube, Kinetik615 on Twitch sometimes. And then I've got tomorrow morning, you can find me on the Final Whistle Network with Mike and Lucian for the AM Scramble where we preview the day's games. And of course right here. And then you may see me pop up on a couple other podcasts next week, so keep an eye out for it. And if you get a chance, check out I always get confused because it's backwards. So the QR code that Mike has put up there, it'll take you to my GoFundMe campaign I've had going for about a year. I am getting very close to being able to shut that down. I've got the arbitration hearing coming up, but because of the government shutdown, it is being pushed back. And things are looking a little bit worse right now until we can get through the government shutdown and I can get my arbitration day. So any assistance, any help is appreciated, whether it's $1, $10, or even if you just take the time to read through it and share it out on social media, everything is appreciated.
Absolutely. Incredible. You can find me at Lichmax626 on all platforms. If you can't find me on that platform, I'm probably not there. If you want to see me on that platform, just get a hold of me on a platform you find me, and I'll make an account there so you can enjoy my presence on your favorite platform. Just let me know. You can also find me over at the Maze Madman Show for Maze Out Mondays, where I produce and I host the Lich Picks segment, which is everybody's favorite segment on the Maze Madman Maze Out Monday show, other than Maze's intro. You can also find me right here at The Gamer Sideline every single Friday between start time between 7 and 8 Eastern Standard, 7 and 8 Eastern Standard Time. We do Football Friday every Friday. We also do some watch-alongs on the weekends for the Michigan and Vikings games. We also are going to try to look into doing some shows through the week. So hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on so you don't miss anything that we have going on. And without further ado,
hold on.
Pausing.
1 second. All right, I want to play something for us to go out to our outro to, just for everyone's enjoyment. Okay.
All right.
So before we hit the intro, we can do the intro after this.
You mean the outro?
Outro. That's what I meant. That's it. That's what I said. All right. All right. You ready?
I finished handing the football. All right, the last game ball to this guy. The long road back. Nobody wants to be on the grass more than you. Then people ride with you. All right, ride with you. All right, bring that shit in.
You can't let this shit be an emotional letdown. We got to come back stronger and keep getting better in every little detail of every aspect of our game.
Like a dog.
There you go. Like a dog in the street.
Without further ado, make sure that you cheer loud, play harder, and we'll catch you next time right here on The Sideline.
From joystick dreams to Friday night lights, it's controllers and cleats under podcast mics with Lichmax driving deep like he's throwing a bomb, and Kinetik calling audible, staying calm in the storm. From the field to the sticks, yeah, we bring the heat. With Kinetik and Lichmax, never miss a beat. When the final whistle blows or the credits roll, we're signing off strong, that's how gamers take control. Catch us on the sideline, where legends chill, where the playbooks flip and the passion's real. If you heard the takes, then you know the drill. Till next time, fam, keep it clutch, keep it skill. From the field to the sticks, yeah, we bring the heat. With Kinetik and Lichmax, never miss a beat. When the headset's off and the lights go low, we'll be back next game, y'all already know. We out.